This is the multi-part series. So please see the previous video tutorials in the series if you are coming in on this one. Now at this phase I'm going to go ahead and build the animation blueprint. I'm going to right click, come up to the same location that we were before. Animation flyout will give you animation blueprint. And again, make sure that you are selecting your skeleton for your character that you are working on. And it's going to prompt you to name that. Make sure that you're staying with the naming convention or some indicator that shows that that's an animation blueprint. Double click on that and we can begin building that. Slow response here. Alright, now when you're learning how to do something new, one of the best ways of doing that is to get what it currently exists and reverse engineer that. So what I'm going to have to do is find the current mannequin and load that in our editor as well. Go back to content, in the content browser, mannequin, animation, and you're looking for the blueprint. I believe that's it. Double click on that and you can see that that is now available. Now if we back up to the anim graph, you can see that this anim graph is simulating. It is active. You can see the animation playing there. Event graph is the other window that we will be working in, and the tabs are right up here at the top. This is the current third person, and your character is the one that we are going to replace this with. So what I'm going to do to start is go ahead and compare the anim graph for my character, which has currently nothing in that except the default node, and the anim graph for the currently running character. So here I see there's a default state machine. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Just select on that. Control C to copy that, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that into my particular anim graph. Very slow response. Let's go ahead and stop the simulation. Try again. There we go. Alright, so if you are simulating, it's better to stop the simulation so you can work. Alright, go ahead and wire that up. And I'm simply pulling on the port exit and clicking and dragging that over to the in port, the result of the default node here, final pose. Alright, once you've got the default in there, what I'd like for you to do is check out what is currently in the hierarchy by clicking on that node, and you can see that this is a very simple layout. You've got the entry, the idle walk run, which is your blend space, your blended animation, and then it transitions into jump, then it transitions into looping animation, and it transitions again to the jump end and transition to the blended animation again. So what we're going to do is rebuild this structure for our character, but we can use the grid inside the state machine that we copied over. So go ahead and double click, and what I've found is the best practice is to replace the animations first and then to work on the transitions. So what we're going to do is double click on the blend space, and we're going to have to replace our variables too. So we'll create the variables and then we will replace with our blend space. Mine is named new blend space with my name on it. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in. You'll get an error. We also need to replace speed with our variable in order for that to work properly. Right down here under my blueprints in the lower left hand corner, you're going to see variables. There's a little plus mark next to that. So go ahead and click on that. It'll generate a new variable. This is a Boolean type. If I come up to the upper right hand corner, you can see that Boolean. And I'm going to go ahead and name that is in air. That's capital I, lowercase s, capital I, lowercase n, capital I, lowercase, A-I-R, and question mark. Very important to get the question mark in there because if this is not named exactly like this, then it will fail. So go ahead and enter to complete that build. We're also going to create a variable that we will need in the future, and that is called speed. So go ahead and click again on variable to add a new one. This time we're going to change that variable type to float, and we're going to name this one speed. That's capital S, lowercase p-e-e-d, and enter. Alright, so that is now available to you here, and we will need that one in order to go on. So drag that into your editor, and when you do, you'll get a little pop-up asking you get speed or set speed. We're going to get speed. Now you can go ahead and drag and drop that to connect, and drag and drop that to connect to the final animation pose. You can see when you do that, it will release this old data. Select that and delete it. Alright, so right up here you can go back to default and go ahead and replace your other animations. Jumpstart. Okay, with my jumpstart. Alright. Oops, if you don't get that dragged and dropped right on that plugin, it will release a menu for you to use to navigate to the type of node that you want. But we want to plug that right in there. Just go ahead and delete what you're not using and step back to default, jump loop. Okay, replace and delete, step back, jump end, and plug that in, delete. Alright, so you've got all of your animations replaced. Now we're going to work our way around and deal with the transitions. So right here, that very first transition, go ahead and double click on that. And here you can see that you've got a variable is in here to get replaced. You're going to drag ours in and get this information. Is the character in the air? And delete the old one. Now, stepping back to default again, let's go ahead forward and address the second transition. Now this is a time remaining ratio asset node. So what we're going to do is preserve this second node. If you hover over that, you can see that this is a target node. It's a Kismet math library node. You can have more information, get more information about that in the Epic documentation, of course. Alright, so to get this one, to replace our transition, what we're going to do is right click and type in time remaining, and then we're going to look for the ratio for the jump start animation. Once we've got that, we're going to go ahead and alt down, break the connection there, and go ahead and put that one in. Deleting the old. Remember, this is old data, so we need to replace that for our new character animations. Stepping back, going on to the third transition, again, need to ask the question, is in air, get this information, not, if the character is not in the air, then result with this. Alright, and then delete the information you're not using. Step back with default. And one last time remaining. Transition, right click, type in time remaining. Look for the ratio for jump end, which is the animation that's set next. Go ahead and delete that. And make sure to plug that in the proper port. Whoops. There we go. Stepping back. Now at this point, all of your animations have been replaced. All of your variables and nodes have been replaced with transitions, and we're going to compile. Now, if you compile too early, you're going to get some error messages to deal with. If I haven't done anything or something correctly, then that's also going to error. So let's go ahead and compile. Upper left-hand corner, click on the compile, and I've been successful. Good. All right, at that point, we're going to go ahead and save. And then we can go on to the next step. I'm going to stop the video at this place and pick up the next video at the point where we come in and actually replace the character in the level. Thank you for joining me.